Today, we are discussing a book titled Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. It does not simply teach you how to invest in stocks, funds, or real estate, but rather transforms your concepts of investment, imparting the asset creation mindset of the wealthy. The author of the book is Robert Kiyosaki. The influence of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series hardly needs further mention. Any finance-related book list will inevitably include this series. Today, we mainly talk about the investment philosophy of this rich dad, as well as how he teaches authors to gradually develop their own investment mindset, establish and operate businesses, and more. Essentially, the skills of earning and spending money are discussed in this book. From a young age, Robert was influenced by his entrepreneurial father, gradually adopting a wealthy financial perspective. Upon graduating from military school, he faced a choice similar to many young people. Should he find a respectable job or start a business? He could have easily landed a great job as a pilot, but he chose to follow his entrepreneur father's advice and start his own business. Eventually, he too became a millionaire and achieved success. His entrepreneurial father said that to invest, one must first have the mindset of the wealthy. There's a rule called 90/10, which means that 10% of the people make 90% of the money. To become one of those 10%, one must first change their mindset. The wealthiest individuals do not just buy investments. They create investments that attract other investors to their successful businesses. Next, we will discuss the advice given by the entrepreneurial father regarding the wealthy mindset and creating investments. First, let's look at what the book describes as the wealthy mindset. Part 1. The entrepreneurial father always emphasized the EBSI quadrants to Robert, representing 4 different types of people. We'll briefly describe them, with quadrants 2 and 3 on the left side representing E and S types, respectively. E stands for employee, which is most of the working class who work for others without much spare money or free time. S represents the self-employed or small business owners, including professionals like lawyers and doctors, who might have a little extra money but are far from financial freedom. On the right, quadrants 1 and 4 represent B and I types. B stands for business owners who can have their businesses earn money for them. I stands for investors, the ideal state where money works most effectively. When you can become these 2 types of people, you'll find it easier to make money, and your financial burdens will lighten, as poor people's income is often limited to wages or part-time earnings, necessitating overtime to earn more. Wealthy people, however, have diverse income sources, including dividends, stock earnings, business profits, or returns on other investments. The entrepreneurial father believed that our concept of money defines its accessibility. If we think money is hard to earn, it indeed becomes hard to earn. If we perceive it as easy to earn, we'll see opportunities everywhere, just like the 2 sides of a coin. One poor, the other wealthy. Why do most people still struggle among the poor? Because they only see the challenging side of earning money. Before investing, one should consider 3 reasons: security, comfort, and wealth. These choices are all crucial and represent goals that people strive for, but different people prioritize these goals differently. Poor people often place security first, while the entrepreneurial father prioritized wealth, placing his unabashed desire to make money at the forefront. Often, poor people are fearful of investing, as their first thought about investing is how much they might lose, such as if stocks plummet or real estate prices don't rise. According to the entrepreneurial father, this mindset typically stems from 3 reasons: lack of systematic training, as most investment is simply following trends; lack of control, even though investing involves risks, it's not inherently dangerous; and investing externally rather than internally, which means you never really understand the details of a business's operations. Poor people value money more. Robert's biological father thought money was to be saved, not wasted. He quickly saved any money he made. I have a friend who, during the early days of online food delivery, would research which platforms offered the best discounts and coupons. While saving money, these people are also keen to earn money, but at a very basic level, involving tasks that require little skill, like part-time jobs during college or starting work. Unfortunately, the education most of us receive from a young age instills a poor mindset. Robert's biological father would often tell him to study hard, work hard, save money, and save his salary, quite similar to what many parents tell their children. But the entrepreneurial father said that if you truly want security and comfort, working hard and saving money are important, but they won't make you wealthy. This conventional thinking is still a poor person's mindset. Whether at home or abroad, you will earn less after retirement, though it may be enough to get by. However, if you want to become as wealthy and comfortable as the entrepreneurial father, your current status won't cut it. But it's never too late to start investing, no matter your profession or age. Part 2. Now let's discuss how to create investments. Before becoming an investor, let's talk about the 7 principles of investment. Understand which type of income you are working for. There are 3 main types: earned income, the most common being wages; portfolio income from stocks, funds, and financial products, which is the most popular form of investment; and passive income, such as rental income or royalties, which you earn without significant involvement. As much as possible, convert your earned income into portfolio or passive income, a fundamental task for investors. As previously mentioned, relying solely on wages is insufficient. Your money must generate more money. Use securities to convert earned income into passive or portfolio income to safeguard your earned income. At this point, Robert was a bit puzzled, thinking it unlikely to secure earned income through securities. What if stocks fall? Here, the distinction between assets and liabilities becomes relevant. Many people think of securities they purchase as assets, but they are merely tools for holding money. If securities make money, they become assets. If they lose money, they become liabilities. The investor themselves is the real asset or liability. Every investment ad warns that investment involves risks and requires caution, but there are always people making money. The entrepreneurial father said your decision-making risk is the greatest risk. If you invest blindly without expertise, you are the biggest risk and could become the greatest liability. Moreover, investing is a mundane activity. The notion of getting rich overnight through investment is not really investing but a gambler's speculation. Be prepared for any situation. True investors prepare for any circumstance, while non-investors always speculate about the future, constantly monitoring the stock market and their financial products. We often hear people regret not buying a particular stock or investing in real estate in Australia earlier. Thus, you should prepare with knowledge, experience, and sufficient cash to act decisively when opportunities arise. A good deal naturally attracts capital. When a good project arises, attracting financing is easy, but why are there still difficulties in raising funds? Because the issue lies with the person managing the project, not the project itself. Assess risks and returns. The entrepreneurial father said the more investment knowledge you have, the more money you make, and the lower your risks. He posed a hypothetical multiple-choice question. If you had $25,000 and 2 projects to choose from, one where your nephew wants to start a burger joint needing startup capital, and another where your nephew has worked at a major burger chain for over a decade and plans to franchise his own store, which would you choose? The author would obviously choose the second option, as the risks are significantly lower. Having understood these 7 principles, we've begun to establish our investment mindset. But to reach a wealthy investor's level and make your investments safer, Rich Dad said you need 3 E's: education, experience, and enough cash. Education refers to your financial knowledge, which, unfortunately, most of us never encounter in school. We learn mostly academic subjects with almost no training in financial literacy. Most people end up working for others, living in the poor quadrants. Thus, we must consciously develop this capability. Experience shows a significant divergence between poor dad and rich dad's views. Robert's biological father was a PhD and part of the academic community, where making mistakes is seen as bad. If someone frequently makes mistakes, it suggests they have low intelligence. But the entrepreneurial father saw it differently. The more mistakes a person makes, the more they learn from them. Sufficient cash, obviously, is crucial, as the saying goes, to make money, you need money. How to acquire sufficient cash will be discussed later. Part 3. Now that we understand the mindset of the wealthy, let's look at the types of investors Rich Dad outlined. Although investment types vary, there are essentially two strategies: buying assets and creating assets. To become wealthy, you must employ both methods. Let's look at the different types of investors. The first type is the accredited investor, who earns a lot of money or has significant net assets. Rich Dad is an accredited investor, and as the name suggests, not everyone can become one. In the US, less than 3% of Americans meet the requirements set by the Securities and Exchange Commission. An individual income of at least $200,000 in the last 2 years, or $300,000 for a couple, with the expectation of maintaining such income. The second type is the qualified investor, who is wealthy and has a certain level of investment knowledge. Qualified investors know how to analyze publicly traded stocks. Generally, this category includes stock traders and analysts. The third type is the sophisticated investor, who is more adept than the qualified investor, proficient in financial and legal knowledge. They maximize returns and preserve capital by leveraging tax, corporate, and securities laws. If you aim to be a successful investor without starting your own business, your goal should be to become a sophisticated investor. The fourth type is the insider investor, typically a business owner with their own profitable operation system. To become an insider investor, you must create a successful business, regardless of its nature, as long as it's profitable. Insider investors can also become sophisticated investors by learning legal knowledge. The final type is the ultimate investor, also known as a pre-IPO shareholder, meaning they held company shares before the initial public offering. These are the basic investment principles the entrepreneurial father taught the author. Understanding these concepts prevents aimless trend following and minimizes investment risks. We mentioned that to make our investments safer, we need knowledge, experience, and sufficient money. We've already discussed knowledge and experience. Now, let's talk about how to achieve wealth quickly. Robert realized that, apart from earning amounts, there's a huge difference in taxation between his father and the entrepreneurial father. They have different tax rates. Rich Dad, being in business, only needs to pay taxes based on a proportion of his net income which he can control. For instance, if he earns $100,000 in a month, he could spend $80,000 on real estate, leaving him with $20,000 net income, from which he would pay taxes. But his biological father, a government employee, must pay over 30% of his entire salary in taxes, leaving him with much less. This tax policy influenced the author's career planning. When he graduated as a military academy graduate, his biological father wanted him to become a pilot, a seemingly great job that sounds respectable and is technically skilled, fulfilling for many. But the entrepreneurial father advised Robert to start his own business, as becoming a pilot would lead him down the same path as his biological father. With a fixed salary, he'd depend on the government in old age, making financial freedom unlikely. However, ideals are one thing and reality is another. Like most people, Robert was just out of school and not particularly wealthy. Where would he find the startup capital to run a business? So, he consulted the entrepreneurial father about pursuing financial freedom without money. Rich Dad's response was to immediately find a job. This confused him. Wasn't entrepreneurship the plan? The entrepreneurial father explained a profound principle. To be an entrepreneur, the principle is not to work simply for money. The primary goal of starting a business is not to make money. A job is just a way to learn long-term skills. This job isn't meant for survival but as a process for accumulating experience. So, Robert found a job selling copiers, not just to earn a wage but to overcome his fear, learn to interact with others, package himself, and persuade others. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he gave the same advice to a female PhD in literature, suggesting she try sales. Rich Dad also emphasized an important point. You can't be dragged down by money, as the wealthy do not work for money. We often encounter people or find ourselves spending time and effort, even compromising health, to make money. This blood money situation turns you into a work slave because the free time you could use to create more value is spent working overtime or taking part-time jobs. The first step to quickly achieving wealth, obtaining startup capital, has been explained by Rich Dad. Next, let's discuss how to successfully run your own business. You might think this book teaches us how to invest, so why does it also teach entrepreneurship? Because, from Rich Dad's perspective, only by building a strong business can your investments be more successful. A business not only creates assets for you but also provides a rich cash flow. If sold, it can earn a lot of money, and the best method is to go public. After going public, you can sell your shares and become the ultimate investor. Plus, you are always on the inside of the investment, understanding all the details and having information much faster and more accurate than outsiders. Here, Rich Dad showed us a BI triangle model. If every part of this model is well managed, the business will operate smoothly. This triangle exists in any business activity, whether you run a small shop or a large company. Let me describe the model. It has 3 sides representing mission, team, and leadership, with 5 structures inside, ranked by importance: cash flow, communication, systems, legal, and product. These 8 elements determine the success or failure of our businesses. The mission includes both a spiritual mission and a business mission, serving as the foundation of the model. But Rich Dad said making money shouldn't be the only mission, as your desire for money diminishes once your finances run smoothly. If you use making money as motivation, you'll lack passion later on. A spiritual mission, such as our goal to help everyone save time and quickly upgrade their understanding, is more meaningful. The second element is the team, which ideally includes not just employees but mentors and advisors. Mentors guide the entire team on the right path, while advisors, such as accountants and lawyers, are experts in various fields working together. There's also leadership, including internal and external types. Internal leadership is responsible for the normal operation of the business, which might be someone you hire. Our job is to handle external leadership, expanding the entire business's operations. Let's look at the 5 structures within the triangle. These parts are ranked by importance, with cash flow being the most critical and products the least. Everyone understands the importance of cash flow. Without money, a business cannot operate. But why are products considered the least important? We often say content is king, products are king, so why are products the least important to Rich Dad? He used McDonald's as an example, one of the most successful global fast food chains. You can't claim McDonald's burgers are the tastiest in the world, yet we still value and love our products. Why? Because we assign a mission to our products. They carry our expectations. Having learned how to run businesses and create assets, what happens after we make money? Is everything then worry-free? You probably know the answer, as how you spend money is as important as how you make it. Without a wealthy mindset, even sudden riches carry the risk of bankruptcy. Here are 5 reasons. Poor people don't know how to manage large sums of money because they've never handled so much before and lack the concept and professional management. Once wealthy, it's easy to lose self-control, buying loads of liabilities like luxury items, cars, and private jets, traveling the world without distinguishing between assets and liabilities. When you have money, many people start asking for loans, a tricky situation since discussing money can damage relationships. If you can't learn to refuse others, you might lend all your money away. Poor people, once wealthy, might try investing without the necessary experience, which we've mentioned isn't just poor, it's dangerous. The fear of loss grows as you have more money, too afraid to invest properly and spend without a plan. So, how do wealthy people spend money? They convert liabilities into assets, becoming richer through their expenditures. Why can spending money make you wealthier? Rich Dad gave an example. Suppose you own a property that earns rental income. If the property costs $1,000 monthly for taxes and maintenance, but you collect $1,200 in rent, you have a net rental income of $200. Although you bear $1,000 in expenses, you still make money, albeit less. But if your expenses remain the same and you only collect $800 in rent, you'll need to cover an additional $200 each month, turning the property into a liability. The wealthy mindset can transform these liabilities into assets, meaning low income but high expenses for the wealthy because their expenditures, though high, are assets. Poor people, even with low expenditures, are burdened by liabilities. To recap, this book demonstrates the wealthy investment mindset, the 7 investment principles, and 5 types of investors outlined by Rich Dad. A successful investment is secured by knowledge, experience, and sufficient money. The most effective investment is creating assets, and using the BI model, you can establish a strong business. After achieving success, learn how to spend money, turning expenditures into assets and becoming wealthier through spending. Rich Dad said to become wealthy, one must have the mindset and spirit of an entrepreneur. People invest for 2 main needs, one for security to ensure more protection in old age, and the other to make money. Like Columbus before his voyage, who received support from the Spanish royalty, recognizing his adventurous spirit, we too, once we make our first fortune, will find more market opportunities. The more we earn, the more people believe in our success, making the path to financial freedom easier. Congratulations, you've finished another book.